Welcome back to another episode of Cobra Kai Kompanion, and I'm Peter.
I'm Brihana.
And you guys, making her triumphant return, Vanessa Rubio, who plays Carmen. How you doing, Vanessa?
Hey, I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, obviously. Just inside baseball, I kind of want to kind of speed through the beginning here. We're just kind of redoing this over because I feel some people might get a reading that it's kind of an awkward restart here, but we'll kind of get into it again. But Vanessa, how has things been for you as of late in terms of like vacationing or any traveling have you done?
I wish, Peter. No, I got back. We filmed season 5 late last year, so that wrapped in sometime in mid-December, late December, just before Christmas. So I came back to LA and I was searching for an apartment, which thankfully I already found. And so my time was really devoted to that, but I would have liked to go on a vacation.
So you have moved as well, and we just found out that all 3 of the big 3 have moved. So is this like something that's like running through as a recurring theme with all the cast members? Is everyone moving?
I don't know. I guess is LA is maybe the place to be right now, but also not, because now after COVID and Zoom calls and the ability to be in one place in that way, we can live anywhere we really want, right? So I feel like yes and no. There's a lot of actors who I know who have moved out of LA. It's not necessarily about being in one place anymore. But.
Yeah, never really thought about that. Like location, I don't want to say it doesn't matter anymore, but obviously Atlanta is starting to pick up in terms of the different productions down there. But if most people are doing like self tapes at home, like it almost doesn't matter that you need to be close to wherever your project might be.
Yeah, totally. And I'm a fan of Atlanta. I was getting used to it. I convinced myself I lived there. I was like, yeah, I live in Atlanta, right? Then I was like, oh, I have to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You spent the vast majority of your 2021 down there.
Yeah.
So congratulations again
Hey.
for we already did this once on the promotion to full-time cast member. And what kind of changed between Carmen being recurring and Carmen being main cast?
It kind of just boils down to just a relaxability, just a little bit more ability to be present and hang out with your cast members more and know the crew more. It's as a recur, you're being flown in and out. And so you don't get that much time to really land, quote unquote, So yeah, just that little essence, I think. And I think, like I said before, you guys watch the show pretty closely. And I think you'd be able to notice that, there's just more ease and I don't know, I can't quite a je ne sais quoi quality about it, but certainly a good quality. You feel like, I don't know, more at home, quote unquote.
We were lucky enough to actually get the season 4 screeners this time around to put out a little non-spoiler review and such. What I did, I reached out to John and Josh after binging season 4 and said, this looks like a movie sequel to the show. You brought back Stingray and Aisha. It's like, let's get the band back together and make a movie. That's what it seemed like, like a 5-hour movie. So season 3 was filmed late 2019, season 4 early 2021. Did you notice any of the changes in terms of production? Did being under Netflix change anything how you guys shot the season?
Oh, for sure, totally. And on top of that, being after the pandemic year and coming back into this kind of new world, new way of doing things. 20 yeah, you look back at anything you did in 2019 with like golden nostalgia, right? You're just like,
yeah.
Or Yeah, it's like 2019. And I think there was one scene where in 2019, season 3, I had a cold. You could kind of hear it in the episode. I can't remember what number it is, but Carmen's talking to Johnny and telling him to fight for the tournament. And I remember I was apologizing to the guys. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I got this cold. I'm like, no worries, whatever, I gotta do it. And thinking back on that, I'm like, geez, if that happened in 2021, it would just not be treated as that. But coming back into it, yeah, we had to get used to the masks and the testing. But it amazes me. Season 4 is one of my favorites. It amazes me the quality of work and the season that we were able to get out with all those things in place and all the, kind of awkwardness, of working in that environment. But yeah, I think it's a great season, and the jump up from YouTube to Netflix really did. I want to ask you guys this question too. I think you really see it. You really see this like belief in the show, right? In season 4, just kind of bumped up. Everything's bumped up.
Yeah, and I kind of mentioned not only did it look like a movie, but like everybody, the show is filled with great actors, right? And I saw that in season 4, everybody stepped it up a notch. And I don't know if it's like every season you guys always get like new guest directors. I know Tanner and Peyton have been working on some movies in between the seasons as well, but it felt like a movie. Like I don't know how else to say it. Just like I feel there's some the acting is a little bit different between TV and film. Like this, it looked like people were acting in an actual movie. So I know a lot of the directors are the same. I know John and Hayden and Josh also directed a few of the episodes. So yeah, I think maybe that time between seasons 3 and 4, people just started kind of honing the craft and really perfecting it, and everybody knows their characters a little bit more as well. So like we are kind of seeing more like we're seeing your Robbies and your Carmens. It's not like Vanessa playing Carmen, or anything like that. You guys really embody your characters now too.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it would be cool. I don't know. I think it would be cool to actually do a Cobra Kai movie, or would that ruin everything? What do you guys think?
Oh, I think it'd be wonderful.
I'll be first in line.
We'll take it. We'll buy tickets weeks in advance. We'll camp out on the sidewalk. We're there.
I was like, now, John, I've been pretty good about not asking to be put on the show. Can I be in the movie?
Speaking of John, he oversaw one of the first films that filmed after COVID with Plan B. And then I know that he talked about taking a lot of the lessons from that and bringing it to you guys, because you were one of the first television shows to go back into production in 2021. Was there any kind of a weight? Did you feel, because you're like one of the prototypes, did you feel like guinea pigs, or did you just feel like we're safe and we're going to do this and show everyone how it's done?
Oh, first off, I love that movie, Plan B. I sat home and I watched it. I cracked up. So funny. I wish a movie like that was around when I was growing up, honestly. And I guess, I think what really benefited us was the fact that we had done 3 seasons before, and the adaptability too, right? We had done 3 seasons before that was a bit different. It was under YouTube, and we knew each other by now. Most of the crew was the same. So I think that really benefited us going into season 4. Yes, with more, I don't know, support, belief in the show. But then, the weird part of this COVID protocol stuff, where everybody's still getting used to how they feel in large spaces with people, I do, and it's largely personal too. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys have this experience too, but you're going back into something after the pandemic year, and then you go home, and this happened to me. I was like, whoa, I was really uncomfortable being in a room with that many people, and I don't know why. So I think we were all just kind of managing it in our own way. And, you know, as actors, as people working together, caring about each other and each other's feelings, just navigating those feelings that we were going through, you know, like, oh, you want to do the 6 feet apart. Okay, you don't want to do it. You know, just kind of, I want to do it, but you don't. And it's, you know, just something to be navigated. But we had to go through it and we made a great season out of it despite those things. So I think that's a real testament to our ability to work and go towards one goal in the end.
It has even changed my like perception on watching something syndicated. Like I was watching a show last night from the early 90s and it was like a large crowd and I was just like, oh my God, like what? But like also this is, you're talking about 25, 30 years ago and I'm still freaking out over, you know, for those people. Like, hey, be careful now. It's kind of weird how it's kind of, yeah, just change our perceptions about everything. And and we know that season 4 was filmed in 2021, but it's still kind of like, oh yeah, that looks like a large crowd. Oh, they're not 6 feet, but also the show is currently in 2019.
Yeah, and you didn't catch any masks or anything, did you?
Well, we didn't, but I feel somebody had shared a screenshot of some like a fan in the stands during the tournament still had the mask on.
Ah,
So
oh,
it's just one of those continuity things. Like you can't catch every single extra in the stands, you know. But maybe I don't know. Maybe the person, I would imagine if you're sick, you couldn't be an extra. So I don't know.
yeah, for sure.
Even that though can be explained away because medically fragile would have worn a mask in 2019 anyway.
Hmm.
So it's just, oh, that's a medically fragile, you know, karate fan.
Mhm.
And it's all solved. So
Yeah.
okay, so let's get into I don't want to jump right into my favorite scene, which is, you know, one that we've already talked about off mic a little bit because I'm really curious about that scene.
Brihana, before we get into scenes, can I ask one more question about
Sure,
like,
sure.
Vanessa, like you also did like an article with a Hollywood Reporter talking about like representation and stuff like that. Have you like, do you have a preference when it comes to like being interviewed? Do you like on camera? Do you like going on? I don't think a whole lot of shows have been. I know Ralph has made some appearances, but I know that you made a few after season 3 as well, like going to like on the news and things like that to talk about the new season. Do you have a preference now with everything? Do you like kind of prefer home and over the camera, or do you like print?
Oh, like for interviews?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a preference. I think over the phone, maybe because I'm the type of person who like paces and like, talks to my hands and stuff, that I'm able to just express myself more. Because on the phone, I'm just like rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
But camera, I'm like, must be censored and like do. So maybe on the phone I can express my thoughts in a more stream of conscious way, and that's maybe my preference. But on camera, I get to see you guys, and
Yeah.
that's also awesome.
But I
So
guess like in person, it'd still be nice to like visit with Mario Lopez in person rather than like over Zoom.
yes, my childhood crush, of course.
Okay, now we can get into.
Okay, so Carmen's first scene that we see is cringy, but also hilarious. Cringy toward Johnny, always Johnny, attempting to impress Yaya with this authentic Ecuadorian meal.
Yeah.
That is Tex-Mex from the Chili's website.
Yeah.
How hard was it, especially with the way that Rose was popping off with her little barbs? How hard was it to get through that with a straight-ish face?
Oh gosh, that one wasn't so hard because it was one of the first scenes that we did together, and I think we were all kind of getting, I felt anyway, I was definitely getting my like film legs back, because it was a good full year since we've gotten together. And it's a table scene, so they have to cover everybody. It takes a little longer. That one wasn't very hard to get through. humor wise. And then also in this scene, Carmen's getting delivered some tough news, you know. So that scene it wasn't so funny for me, you know, playing that scene, just because I was just kind of trying to be there. You know, it's weird when you're getting delivered information. You're like, I don't know it. And then you're like, oh my God, my character's going through this stuff. And, you know, I'm just trying to hold my character emotionally, like, it's going to be okay. But no, Rose is always hilarious. And those scenes of like Johnny with the Diaz family are just, there's just like a subtle humor to it that I really love.
He's very sincere in his attempts to oppress you all. He just really sucks at it.
Yeah.
I mean, he even brought out Coca-Cola and didn't, you know, kept the RC in the kitchen. So the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
In that same sequence, speaking of cringe, Miguel reveals how Johnny just went out with his ex and stuff like that. And I didn't like observe the scene that well, but was Johnny trying to kick Miguel under the table, or was he like adjusting in his seat? It looks like he's trying to like kick, like, hey, shut up.
Oh God, maybe he was.
Okay.
God, that was super. Yeah, it's super awkward, and awkward to live through it too, and all these things, like from my perspective, from Carmen's perspective, so many things that she like could get really mad at. But there's an essence about Carmen that is very measured and gentle at the same time. So like, while me, Vanessa, I'm like enraged, you know, I'm like, oh, screw this guy, I can't believe it. And then her, like, she really takes it in, and, you know, just then, you know, somehow doesn't overreact, you know, and it just happens that way. That's just how the character is. So I thought their subsequent scene by the sink, excuse me, was very classy, very gentle, you know. It's like, damn, you've got some class to you.
I'm like that. I like that you used the word. Oh gosh, what word did you use?
Classy.
Basically, huh?
She said it was classy.
No, before that.
Oh.
The
measured.
Well, basically, it's not an overreaction on Carmen's part, right? Like, I think the trope would be Carmen would have gotten upset and they've broken up, you know, kind of like how Johnny and Daniel does in season 4. I do like how it's like, okay, well, Carmen's hearing these news. Johnny probably has a good reason. She cuts him off, but it's like, okay, well, we're not breaking up per se. We're just going to pump the brakes a little bit. And clearly you need to clear your mind, think some things through, and really figure out what you want. And Carmen will be there when he decides, I feel. So I like you said, it's classy, and I think any other show would have played it a little bit differently.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's it works out character wise too, because, you know, Johnny's a hothead, and, you know, if he was met with somebody who was equally like in right what you mentioned with the Daniel situation, they're both bumping heads all the time. If Carmen had approached it that way, you know, probably wouldn't have worked out. I like her style, which is kind of like, oh, okay, she still fully feels all the feels, you know, has strong feelings, but she kind of just waits for him to come to her, you know, when he's good and ready. And she's like, these are my terms, you know, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know one of the things going back to season 1, when we first started seeing, you know, the hints that we were moving toward Carmen and Johnny being together. One of the things that I had always said is that she would not do it until Johnny was in a place where he did not remind her of her ex-husband anymore. And she would want him to be solid in who he is before she fully committed to it. So as far as breakups go, this one was much less physically painful to the audience than the last one, because that one we're all like, no, don't do that. But Johnny has a rough episode 1. His girlfriend breaks up with him, then his husband divorces him, and then they got to tell the kids, and it's just awful. The poor guy.
Wait, what episode of Johnny?
Oh, I said episode 1 because you guys have your scene at the sink and the like pumping the brakes, and then him and Daniel broke up at the end of the episode and had to just had to tell the kids and all of that. So he just had a really rough episode 1.
Yeah, agreed. And you just made me realize that, it is kind of the second time they technically pumped the brakes or, broke up, quote unquote.
Oh yeah. I mean, like the whole Allie thing in season 3, I know there's people who like were very nostalgic for that character and would ship them. And I'm like, hello, you guys, there's still a thread here with like, Carmen and Johnny too. But there was definitely a lot of people rooting for Johnny and Carmen. It was just like, what is Allie doing here? And so they, we spoke with, was it Joan Luan who said that they just wanted to tempt Johnny? That's all, it was all it was. And I guess, if for those that bought the DVD of season 3, there's a deleted scene where Daniel gets tempted with Kumiko, where they dance. So yeah, they're toying with the audience there, it's this season 4 was emotional just as any other seasons, but anytime I hear Cobra Kai is a comedy show, I'm like, is it though? Like we all know it's a dramedy, but I feel like I cry more than I laugh watching these seasons.
Oh man, you gotta tell me what scenes you cried in.
Well, season 4, I mean, which scenes that I did not cry in? We got obviously with Miguel and Johnny, Johnny calling him Robbie. Robbie at the very end there. I feel like maybe season 3 had more of those moments too, because like Mary, she really killed it as Sam in season 3 as well.
Season 3 was a tearjerker.
It was.
Yeah.
I was bawling my eyes out between episodes 9 and 10, thinking that Miggy had thrown his back out again. In the 45 seconds it took to go. Yeah.
Tori had some really emotional stuff that, the more you found out about her when she's confronting her aunt, things like that. A lot of emotional beats, we get into these storylines, and because a lot of the characters, you find some relatability with them, and it's like, man, I have found myself in these moments as well. So, oh yeah, I was definitely doing some. In my non-spoiler review, I even shared, make sure you have a box of tissues with you. So I hope Sholo gets some recognition for that scene in 408.
Yeah, him and Billy, the fluidity I see of them, acting on screen together is just so nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it's almost like Billy is Sholo's mentor the way Johnny is Miguel's, because Sholo has grown up to a certain extent under Billy's tutelage, and yours as well, because all of his scenes, for the majority of his scenes, are with you or with Billy.
Absolutely. And I would say, that forms a huge part of their relationship, of Carmen and Johnny's relationship. Like, for example, that soft breakup scene we just talked about in season 4, I think her measured response is also because she's thinking so much about how much her son loves this man. Now they're really deep into it. And she, as a mother, doesn't want to get in the way of that. So she wouldn't put her drama first. She would, just do her best to save face and be like, okay, let's just put the brakes on a little bit if you're going to be this way or still have an illusion of somebody in your past. In that way, mostly thinking about her son and this man's relationship. She doesn't want to ruin it.
Just to kind of talk about another storyline real quick in season 4. Again, I mentioned the Hollywood Reporter article about representation. We get the introduction of a new character, Leah, played Milena Rivero. Some of the scenes with Kenny, also heartbreaking. Finding out Griffin, who plays Anthony LaRusso being a bully, is heartbreaking, knowing that like we're supposed to love the LaRussos too, yet here's one of them being a bully. What did you think of the introduction of the character of Leah and just kind of the storyline with the new kids?
I thought it was lovely, and Leah she's kind of the crush of Kenny, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's so cute. I mean, it kind of made me think of the original Karate Kid. because Elizabeth Shue's character, you know, introduced as the crush, and there's just I think there's an essence that's shared with the Karate Kid in this show. It's like we're not like overly done up or anything. We're just like ourselves, and we're cute, and this is the crush, and you know. So I think that was nice, but yeah, the whole dynamic, oh gosh, with Kenny, and then we have another bullying story. I'm like, come on, it's so emotional. Like, I can't take seeing another person be bullied on this show, but it is the crux of the show, right? That is a main thing that we're talking about here. And does get emotional, but it makes sense, right? That these lessons live through the generations, that on either side of it, you know, Daniel LaRusso is our image of him is the one being bullied, who we're really rooting for, right? Underdog. We're like, oh, we're on his side. And then to find out that his son is on the other side of it kind of sucks, but it does make sense.
Coming at this, another scene that we all loved was it started off with Daniel and Johnny domesticating together, making pizza for everyone. Johnny throws a beer cap at him, which Daniel catches in midair. But there's a conversation here that as a mother I have had many times with my children, which is the practicality of dreams versus the affordability of which college you can actually go to once that FAFSA is filled out. Carmen came off, I thought, up against the LaRussos because she's very aware, as she's sitting in this enormous house, that they are much better off than she is. But you don't play her as envious of that, or as, you know, it doesn't eat at her. She's like, well, you know, community college would be fine too, honey. So how does she, or how do you, because she's perfect. Carmen is like perfect. She's never frazzled about anything. How do you get into that headspace with her where she's not intimidated by them in that conversation?
First off, thank you. And yeah, so delicate, right? How underneath things we're talking about these big motivators for humans, finances, you know, getting ahead in life, survival. I think that her heart is just very centered. She has been doing things day in and day out that have taught her a lot of lessons. So I think along the way, she's learned that, yeah, those envious feelings don't really serve me in what I need to do, which is mainly take care of my family, keep a roof over their head. It's just the small things I do every day that keep us going. And I'm okay with that. And on another level, she likes to have fun. She likes to make friends. She likes Amanda's character. She likes this family. What she likes most about the LaRussos is their family dynamic. She doesn't really pay attention to the house and all that stuff. She's like, are they a good family? Are they good people for my son? Now, as my experience of, you know, growing up first generation as a child of immigrants, I know there are different styles, right? And it's funny. It's like, I think my mother was more the finance head, like, let's get ahead, all this stuff. And my dad was much more are they good people? Are they you know? So I had both of those exposures growing up. So I think for her, she sees that Miggy's character is thrown by these things, right? Oh, Sam's driving a nice car. Oh, Mr. LaRusso. She already senses his nerves, right? So she's like, I'm not going to add on top of that. I'm not going to even, you know, acknowledge it. I'm going to steer him more in the direction of, are they a good family? Are they good people? How's their character? And she clearly tells him, you know, she tells him in the first episode, I like Sam for you, not because of her family, where they come from, but because she sees that she has a good head on her shoulders. So I think that's what's really driving her. And yeah, you're right. She's in the house and she's just like, well, you know what? There's still this truth to address. You know, I'm not going to shy away from it. And yeah, that didn't work out so well for Mickey's character, but you know, he's got to learn.
Yeah. Very true.
There's a sequence with Carmen and Johnny in bed. Now haven't had a dream. Oh, sorry.
Which one are you talking about?
Where Johnny cannot perform. So you've had some pretty funny scenes with Carmen and Johnny. Either way, when we spoke about season 2, you mentioned this dream sequence was like a super late addition, and you're like, yeah, right, guys. Like you took it as a joke. Was this something that was already in the script that you saw coming? It wasn't like a surprise to you?
Well, no, it was already in the script, but of course, reading it, it's a surprise to you. You know, I'm going through the pages like, huh? We actually have to do this scene, which I thought was pretty funny of the writers and the creators, because we don't really get scenes like that, right? Where we're talking about the day-to-day basics and the pillow talk that nobody really wants to talk about. So that scene was a lot of fun to address. And I mean, surprisingly, it ties in so many things. But it's also a great solidifier, I thought, about how their relationship works. You know, Carmen reads him and she's like, what's really going on here? But yeah, it was funny to film and to read and to do.
Yeah. Like, no, as a viewer, I was like, really, we're getting one of these? And I just kind of thought about it. I go, well, Johnny's going through a lot, like seriously a lot. The stuff with the 2 dojos, the stuff with Daniel, possibly losing Miguel to Daniel is like one of the biggest things for him this season. So I hope that the kids can overlook the like, oh, he's got ED. Well, it's not. Yes, he does, but it's more like mentally what is going through with Johnny. So I did appreciate that scene. As a grown up, kind of understanding stress can really affect a lot of things. Physically.
Yeah, definitely.
I loved the way that scene started, because as soon as he says laying there, this has never happened before, it's like, oh my God, we are in an 80s movie. We just are. But you are the envy of millions of women the world over. Not only are you, Johnny's love interest, you've had 3 love scenes, 1 imaginary, 2 real, with Billy Zabka. And you got this amazing scene, I thought, where he's laying himself bare and confessing his love and like all of these wonderful things. And Carmen's just kind of trying not to laugh her ass off, because Yaya's book club is hanging out in the living room listening to the whole thing. So and then cute. To end with does he have a brother? I thought was fantastic. But what can you tell us about that scene and that setup, where all of these strangers are listening to Johnny confess his love to Carmen?
It's very much like the Jerry Maguire scene.
Yes. In that one, is it the same episode? But I thought it was funny that we had references to 2 Tom Cruise movies, Jerry, and then in the bed, we're talking about Top Gun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that scene was so beautiful. It's just like, because at the same time you get the 2 acceptances, right? You get the acceptance of Carmen and then the acceptance of her mom and her family and, where she's coming from. But yeah, I thought it was funny. They're all like there in their beautiful flower dresses, like, hi. But yeah, I mean, Billy's great to work with. We have a really nice fluidity with the way we work now with each other as well. And I can't think too much about these things either. I did one of my first Comic-Cons, and yeah, I got some of those questions where like, how is it to, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just an actor doing what I do. But I certainly say, and I have told Billy too, I'm like, we got lucky, because we didn't have a chemistry read. We just kind of got thrown together. And I think we've made the best out of it.
Like that would give like an air and authenticity to it too, because you guys have to grow into each other before the relationship develops.
Totally. I mean, our together was the first time we met.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
In episode 408, I feel like it's up there for a lot of people's favorite episodes, like one of them at least. I know it's my favorite episode. Just so many things is going on, the dynamic between Daniel and Anthony, but like all of the prom stuff, just seeing the Diaz's, LaRussos plus Johnny in the one household. Do you recall shooting when the Diaz's show up and Lucille, Daniel's mother, asks Johnny to remove his shoes.
Oh gosh, yeah, I do. Those
Yeah,
scenes when it's kind of funny, like, you know, the digs that the LaRussos have to Johnny when he goes into their house. Like as Carmen, I acknowledge them, I hear them, and I'm trying not to be mad at them, you know, because she's defensive about her man, of course. You know, she's like, you know, don't treat my man that way. But she wants to keep the peace more than anything else. And this is Miggy's big day. So there's a lot of little dynamics that I feel going on with her in that scene. Like there's the urge of just like, you know, wanting to catch his gaze and be like, it's going to be okay. Like, don't worry about them. But her main thing, once again, is making sure that Miggy's having a good time.
Say one of the relationships that I am fascinated with stems from the episode 209, Pulpo, and how well Carmen and Amanda got along immediately. You know, like scheming wordlessly to sneak off to the restroom with this woman you've known for 10 minutes so your man children can, you know, deal with each other for a little while. And we do know that the pizza scene, we saw Amanda and Carmen sitting on the couch together, drinking wine, giggling, you know, like college girls. Mm-hmm. Were there any scenes filmed or written that didn't make the final cut between, if you can tell, because I know sometimes if they are filmed, they will come back, between Carmen and Amanda? Did we have any more development of that relationship originally?
Gosh, no, but I wish there were. I wish like we'd be like, you know, lounging by the pool and just like, ha ha ha. But I imagine like in their cahoots together, you know, like she's like, they're sitting on the couch and they're like, hi, I look really good right now, right? Yes, you watching? Yeah, he's watching, you know. I think they have that type of, you know, understanding between them where they're able to just kind of scheme in their own way, you know, putting the joke on the guys.
Yeah, I mean, your relationship with Courtney is kind of filling that void that, you know, we were kind of missing in season 4 between the two, you know, so we're always waiting, you know, like we're kind of talking about it in the fandoms, like when are we going to get that spinoff between, you know, Carmen and Amanda? So waiting for it to happen someday, perhaps.
Yeah, we have so much fun.
I love the pictures that you guys have been posting, the behind the scene pictures of the two of you always together, always laughing, looking like you're having so much fun.
We're pretty ridiculous. Like there was a scene that we're just ridiculous together. You know, we're just like back and forth. Like, ah. And at one point, John was recording us and like played a video back to us of us. And we're like, we're ridiculous. We're just like, it's fun.
Speaking of John, you recently shared a video of him kind of revealing a Eagle Fang shirt of sort or jersey or something.
Yeah. And
Could you talk
remixing it?
Yes, I made him look like he was stripping to pour some sugar on me.
Yes, you are my hero, Peter. Thank you for doing that.
Yes. Well, thank you for the footage.
It was inevitable. Yeah, it was one that, you know, on my phone, I try to organize it. I make a folder. I'm like, hey, season 4. And it was one of those that slipped by me. And I was like, what was this video? And I opened it and I was like, oh my God, this is great. So it was a fun one.
So he was just revealing the shirt. It was all it was. There was nothing else to it.
Yeah, well, John is always wearing really cool Cobra Kai gear to work. So it's always like, we're always like, where'd you get that shirt? How can we get it? And that was one that we were like, let's do a little something, you know, put you in front of the camera and have a big reveal.
Yeah.
You have to love a showrunner that wears pirated merchandise for his own IP to work every day.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I know that originally his ugly Christmas sweater was pirated. It was one that he got from Amazon, and now it's on the official site to buy that same sweater. So
yeah. The work doesn't stop.
Nope. Okay, so moving into a little bit more into 408, the interaction between Louie and Johnny. How aware is Carmen of what actually Louie did? I mean, because Johnny takes off like a bat out of hell that night and leaves Reseda Heights to burn to the ground for all he knows. So is Carmen aware that Louie is the one that set Johnny's car on fire?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because
No.
I was curious as to why, like, if she knew, would she have been right beside him? Would she have been proud of the way he dealt with Louie? You know, all that kind of stuff.
Would have been super proud of the way he dealt with Louie for sure. But she sees Louie for the first time that day. You know, she's like, I think she's very protected sometimes, like with what she knows and what she doesn't know. And I think like comedically, it also kind of feeds into their relationship too, because she's just like looks at him with eyes of love and just like, you're great. But she doesn't know that he put her son in a cement mixer, and all these details. Excuse me, what?
You know that we spoke with Julia Macchio, and she shared about how every season her and her family would come and visit. What was it like to finally have her show up in season 4?
It was awesome, and her character's name is Vanessa.
Yeah,
awesome. Julia's so sweet, and it's really nice to, it's Ralph's daughter, so the family dynamic, is something that you can't manufacture or fake. It's just, it adds to a production, and her her character was hilarious, and I loved how it was kind of a throw or a reference to My Cousin Vinny, a little bit. So I like all the tie-ins.
One of the scenes that actually made, I think, every parent who's ever had to sit their child down and try to explain something like this, it was a little cringy toward both Carmen and Johnny when they're trying to have the talk with Miguel, and literally all he wants to do is get his water bottle out of the van. So yeah. How did that scene go? Were there alternate versions? Was there any ad lib, or was that strictly what was on the page?
The part that was ad libbed was when Johnny goes on about like the nice restaurant they wanted to take him to, like the Marie Callender's and all this stuff. So I had to sit there and look at Mickey and be like, but that part, it was a really funny scene to film. And I got him back, thankfully. The show is always trying to make me laugh before my scenes. And this was the one scene where he was having trouble keeping a straight face. So I was like, yes. But we were just like, playing it. And it was that feeling of like, oh my God, like a hot potato, you tell him. Like, no, I'm gonna tell him. Extremely awkward. You still feel all the feels, that your character's going through, but sort of weight off the shoulders afterwards. But then also, Carmen knowing her son, she's like, that's not the end of that. Right. He said now, but we're gonna see.
I mean, in a similar scene, it's when Carmen and Johnny is waiting for Miguel to come home, and there's like this I don't know if it's necessarily a misunderstanding per se, but I just love how Johnny's like, oh yeah, see, he was just with his girlfriend, so it's not the big of a deal, where he's supposed to be siding with Carmen, yet he's like, oh well, I totally get where Miguel's coming from in the whole like, right, yes, be safe, be protected and all that. Was that also on paper, or were there some ad-libbing in there as well?
That was on paper. Yeah, that was on paper. And yeah, it was just awkward all around, right? Because it's like this family that's trying to come together that doesn't really know how to do it yet. So it was endearingly awkward, but yeah, pretty funny.
I love the misunderstandings from everybody, and Carmen's kind of like, what? Wait, what? No, Johnny, that's not what we're talking about here.
Say, co-parenting with step parents is always awkward. So to echo back a question that Peter had for you earlier, were you trying to kick Billy under the table during all those times that he was betraying you to Miguel?
Yeah, right. Yeah, she could have totally.
And then let's see what we're ready for 409, I guess.
Yeah, as we get ready to wrap up, just the last two episodes, which is like one big episode, really, part one, part two. So what was it like to come back to the tournament? Obviously, Yaya and Carmen was in season one at the tournament. How were some of the differences between shooting seasons 1 and 4?
Oh gosh, huge. As you can see, the production value went up. We have huge pop star Carrie Underwood singing. It was amazing. It was awesome. And like it was so funny. We all like fanned out that day when she came in. We all showed up like 3 hours before our call time. We're like, hey, oh, you guys rehearsing? It's just wonderful. And she was lovely to meet and to talk to, and a true fan of the show. It's just like you said, growth bumped up. It's so much, everybody's, knows that they belong there. And the fighting was just extra, so extra. And then we had this glorious MC who really threw it down the whole time. He was amazing. So yeah, it was just, I guess the way I would describe it more is everybody's come together. We feel like we know what we're doing. Everybody knows what they're doing, and the stakes are higher.
Does Carmen, because of course, being in the stands at the first All Valley, we remember the conversation between Carmen and Rosa from season 1. Now we have an extension of that conversation where not only did she smoke a joint before she came, but now she's got the munchies. Do you think Carmen is judgy of Rosa's pastime here, or does she just kind of go with it?
I think a little bit of both. Now she's going with it. She's not quite so surprised. She's like, all right, yeah. Hey, maybe I hope in future seasons we'll see Carmen share in her habit. That would be funny, right? The last tournament, Carmen's baked.
That would be funny.
I hope it happens, but I think she's more accepting of it. She's like, she loves her mother, and she's like, all right. But yeah, that little exchange I thought was hilarious, because she's like, I know what you're up to, lady. But hey, nobody's gonna get in the way of Rosa, But hey, and also I'm really proud of Carmen too. She's able to watch the fight now. She's much more
doing this thing.
Yeah, no. Toughed up, she's good. And she's also watching her son and now her man out there, so she's there for 2 reasons.
Yeah. There was always a mention of Miguel's father throughout the seasons, as early as season 1. We're definitely getting it more in season 4 with with Yaya mentioning in 408, like, oh, it looks like his father. Obviously you can't answer anything about that, but can you talk about like maybe Carmen's headspace when she finds out that Miguel left to head to Mexico City?
Ugh, it's a messy one. Oh gosh, I really felt for her, and I felt like all her different things too. Like, she's big on the guilt. She's big on the self-guilt, and she's just, it unravels her in a way of her really having to come to terms with all the things that she could have done and didn't do, and could have shared with him and didn't, and just kept on avoiding it, to the point that now she sees in that moment it was the wrong way to go. And so yeah, she's coming to terms with a lot of that stuff, and she has to open up and can sort of confess it to Johnny, who now she has gained her full trust, and she's able to reveal this thing that she hasn't really told anybody about, except her mom, and she certainly feels guilty about it. But I think it allows her, I can only hope, that it allows her to grow, and for them to grow in their relationship, and that he comes back and, forgives her, or, I don't know, stays in Mexico and is calling her, forges a new life in Mexico. But what's going on with her is pretty, yeah, I felt for her in those final episodes.
If she was present, like when we were talking earlier about him, potentially throwing his back out and then being back in the locker room at the beginning of 410, and kind of a repeat-ish, not the same thing, obviously, scene between Miguel and then Carmen and Yaya, kind of echoing back to the hospital scenes where it was just the three of them. And then Johnny, once again, being the final nail in his metaphorical coffin, but Carmen wasn't there for that part.
For which
for hearing Johnny kind of try to put Miguel up to something he obviously didn't want to do. So in that moment, if Carmen had still been hanging around outside listening to that, do you think she would have barged back in or let it slide?
No, she would have barged back in
and told him to knock his stuff off.
Yeah, totally. I mean, even kind of in the beginning of the scene where he comes in, where Miggy's stretching, and she's like, "There's a lot of stretching," and she's still kind of fishing around. You happy? I think as a mother would say, are you really happy about this stuff? And he says he is. So she's like, okay, she trusts it. But I think if she'd had overheard that, she wouldn't have been with it.
My next couple of questions is really outside of the filming Cobra Kai. One of which is, as a viewer and watching season 4 when it came out, or whenever you watched it, what was something that surprised you? That I believe you only get the scripts for the episodes you're in, but and maybe not necessarily surprised, but what was something you really liked in season 4 as a viewer?
As a viewer, like watching it, to tell you the truth, I was really digging the whole video montage at the tournament. I was like, this is awesome, it was just good. It got the momentum going. The pacing was up. You're in the show. You feel like you're fully in it, you're excited, you're pumped up. So I think that was one of my favorite parts, watching it. Any other favorite parts? I have to say, I liked both Sholo's interaction with Johnny and Daniel. Of course, the stuff with Johnny broke my heart because I, also kind of feeling it via Carmen. But I like the interaction with Miggy and Daniel when they're like cruising in the car, and he's kind of giving him this other perspective of a father figure and able to talk. I think that's maybe what I appreciated, and maybe I'm also sensing it via Carmen, but I think watching it, I was like, oh, he's really able to talk to Daniel, so I like those things.
I'm going to ask my last 2 questions about Cobra Kai together because they're both really short and they're both really silly. I've asked everyone that has been in the scene that we have talked to so far, so I have to ask you as well. When Carrie Underwood started singing, did you recognize the song? Did you know where it came from?
Vaguely. I recognized the song. I knew it was originally from The Karate Kid. But to tell you the truth, I felt like I was hearing it for the first time, because it was just done in a different way. And I mean, it's updated. And so I was just like, yeah, this is awesome. I knew where it came from, but I was also really digging this version like it was the only version.
I like it better.
Really good. Really good.
I think the Moment of Truth is a good song, but it's not something that I would put on the soundtrack and go straight to that, but like Carrie Underwood's version, I was like, I really like this now, Yeah. So, I mean, not a great comparison because like Cruel Summer is a great song already, but the Carmen Kilmer version, you're just like, oh my God, like this is so different and this is just as good.
Yeah, she made that really, really haunting. And my other really ridiculously silly question, just looking back on the last 4 years and all the times that Carmen has been to Johnny's apartment, do you think he's ever offered her ham juice?
Ew. That's it. That's my answer.
It's a good one.
Yeah. No, he tries to spiffy up for her. And she knows.
Right. He eats Slim Jims and beer for breakfast, so she's gonna assume that his ham has juice. Yeah.
I mean, when you're saving Coca-Cola for the Diaz family, like, it's only the good stuff for them.
Right.
My last question is, we understand that there's definitely some downtime in between shoots, and because of all the safety stuff. What is a memory, that you can share, if it was with Courtney, just some kind of like some hijinks, some fun thing that you can share that happened behind the scenes?
Oh, season 4?
Yes.
Oh man.
I know Matt Lewis was talking about how he would just start walking around looking for like the different sets, just to peek around kind of thing. I know like Dallas and Nate and Griffin were like playing frisbee in between shoots during the tournament.
Oh yeah, I do remember them doing that. Not much to say really, besides the fact that we all showed up super early on the day Carrie Underwood. We were all bright and early. We were like, hey, what's up? And the photo ops were, everybody was lining up. It was a fun time, and I think it's always culminates when we have those tournament scenes, because everybody's there. There's a lot of energy up, and you get to see the kids, which they've been training, the whole season and before it to really show up at the tournament. So you get that sense of like, now's the moment. But other than that, just normal stuff.
Yeah. You want to save the juicy stuff for another time. I get it. Well, Vanessa, as always, it's a pleasure to speak with you, and thank you again for giving us the opportunity to speak with you and pick your brain about Cobra Kai.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys. Cobra Kai Kompanion, Peter and Brihana. What?
It sounds like you're closing up for us here. Well,
play closer.
Yeah. Well, on that note, thank you again, Vanessa. Thank you for everybody tuning in, for all your guys' continued support of what we do, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Hey,
Bye.
bye.